Welcome to episode 249 of The Center Ring, and this is going to be the best episode ever. And that makes it sound like it's going to be like a super exciting stuff happen. Not really the case. We got another sad week in esports, everyone. But Anuj is back, so that's happy. But we're going to talk about Me Too and more sexual assault. So that's not happy. But we're still going to have some fun. Not necessarily like 1 and 2, not a 1-1 comparison. So this is an awkward way to sell a show to you. But it's serious and it needs to be talked about. So we'll talk about some Me Too and esports and what needs to change. We have word on the street. There might be a new streaming platform in the mix, and Dr. Disrespect might be leading the way. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And it's Monday. So it's everyone's favorite segment where we will have fun. Yikes of the week. And of course, a loaded e-news to get through at the end of the show. But before we do that, let me tell you about alts. If you listen to the show, you know all about them. But go to altesports.com. You can currently pre-order the Overwatch League Doodle collection. Now, if you missed it the first time, you're like, Tim, but it's sold out. No, the first wave sold out. It was so gosh darn popular. Alt was like, oh man, we got to go back and we got to make more. So now you can go and pre-order it. You did not miss your chance. They are pretty fresh. I won't lie. They are very cool looking. Even if you're not an Overwatch League fan, you would still look cool wearing it. So that's the plus side. That's the plus. So that's altesports.com, at Ultimate on Twitter. While you're there, you can also pick up a 101 Burglars hoodie brought to you by your very own TCR boys. We have some stuff that are in the works. You know, we're constantly in the lab making things up. So some things in the background, so keep an eye on it there. You can also follow them at Ultimate on Twitter.
Hi, my name's Drone. I play Valorant for TSM, and you're listening to The Center Ring.
Okay, so let's start.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another edition of The Center Ring, aka TCR, aka your favorite esports podcast. Yes, this is episode 249, coming to you live and or pre-recorded from an undisclosed location. The date is 6/28/2020. The time 8:27 p.m. Central Time. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter at The Center Ring. If you're listening on iTunes, you can always leave a 5-star ravishing review. We appreciate it. We do read them. So if you want to have some constructive criticism, that'd be great. We read them. We love hearing it. So, and if you don't want to leave a review, that's cool too. But if you still got something to say, join our Discord. You can find that link in our Twitter bio and also our website, tcr.gg. Have a group of guys in there. Always a fun chat going on about various esports. You know, we have guys that want to talk PUBG, want to talk League of Legends, want to talk whatever. There's a spot for everyone. So go ahead and join that. My name is Tim. I'll be your captain for this journey into esports, and alongside me, as always, except for last week, because he had a baby, it's my best friend, my brown friend, my dad friend. It's Anuj. What is up?
Your sleep-deprived friend is back. No, dude, it's awesome to be back. I mean, obviously, this last week has been amazing. Like, it's really just an eye-opening experience. Like, you don't know until you know. And I kind of learned that this week. You know, you have a bunch of friends that are dads now. I've seen all of you growing up with your kids and doing this and that, but
and like we all tell you, it's gonna suck. Yeah. Like you're gonna be tired, and you're like, no, it's not bad.
It'll be fine. You know, thankfully he's been pretty chill. Like he has been pretty chill. He sleeps a lot in between feedings, but it's been like
but it still sucks.
Yeah. It's still different than your normal, like your normal day-to-day is not the same anymore, for sure.
I always kind of compared it to like an outdoor concert. You had fun, you loved it, you'll do it again, but at the same time, you're sunburnt, you're sweaty, you smell
Tired.
tired, you just want to go home and sleep. That's kind of what it's like having a kid right off the bat.
It's funny. We're like trading off naps. Like, okay, it's your turn. You go take a nap. I'll watch Hudson for a little bit. And so we're finding ways to make it work. But it is like, I mean, like I said, it's an amazing experience. Like we really just loved it. We love him. Thank all the listeners that have reached out on Twitter, DMs. Like it's been amazing, guys. Thank you guys all, for all the showed support and continued support. But I am happy to be back. Like I'm happy to kind of do some of the normal things that I was doing a few weeks ago. And what a time to come back, Tim.
I mean, really, you took a good week off. Not a whole lot has happened. I'll get a quick update. Complexity, they won a tournament in CS.
Saw that.
So
That was big.
paid
That was
off.
big.
Paid off. Evil Geniuses decided not to suck in Counter-Strike for once. So
Don't know how that happened. We'll have to look into that a little bit
you
more.
had that. Floater Mayhem might be legit. Back to back.
What is that, 3 for them now?
3, and also the first back-to-back winners. So
Yeah.
there you have that. I think the first back-to-back. Don't quote me, but definitely the first to win 3. And I think that's really it. I mean, esports has been kind of dead lately. A few sexual assault accusations and charges.
Just a few.
A dabble of streamers may have lost their jobs.
Like 20 or 30 here and there.
Yeah. A little World of Warcraft or called Method. Don't know if you've heard of them. They might be screwed, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy has happened.
I thought the pandemic was going to be the craziest thing of 2020. That it's changing week to week right now.
It's nuts. Kevin joined us last episode, and we talked a little bit about it. And I won't lie. Like, we kind of brought it up, but also in the sense of, like, I thought this was going to be the last time we would talk about it on the show. So, kind of sucks that we're here right now. And I will say this, because I say it all the time. Like, it sucks that we have to talk about this, or, man, I wish people, I wish there weren't people getting in trouble. That's not saying I wish people weren't getting called out for sexual assault or anything along those lines. I wish no one was on the list because they didn't do it.
You wish it was not an issue.
Exactly.
Like that we've grown, and it's unfortunate because it doesn't seem like it's going to slow down right now. Like it still feels like there's some names to come out. We don't know what the result right now is for a lot of these individuals that have been accused. So this is going to be an ongoing story, right? It's not going to be like we talk about it one time and then guess what? We move on like it's the next tournament, right? It's not going to be the next thing. I think this has brought in enough big name individuals to where their voices will be heard now, right? Like it's kind of come up before. It's not like we've never talked about it on the show before. It's never really like lingered from week to week. And so you feel like enough voices are being heard, just like you're kind of hearing with the Black Lives Matter movement. Like enough voices are out there right now to where you feel like something has to change, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy from our vantage point on this one, because for some of these that have been accused, we've met. We've had them on the show. We've shared laughs. We shared stories. And so it's very weird. I think I can honestly say it's the first time in my life that I'm this close to it.
Yeah. I mean, we were fortunate enough to grow up, whether that be the homes or the circles that we went around with, where this wasn't like an issue with my friends. Just like racism is not an issue within the group of people that I hang out with, from family again to friends. It's kind of the same thing with sexual assault. Like I know it's there. I know it's happening. I've watched the news. It's just never been like directly affecting the community that we're involved in.
Yeah, and I said it last week. I think part of the issue how we're seeing it with so many streamers on Twitch, because seriously, it's almost like it seems like any streamer out there is being named. I think there's a complex of I don't know what you would call it, but like when you have, whether you have 2,000 people, 200, 200,000 people watching you, at that moment, like you are the shit, right? Like we don't get a ton of viewers when we do the show live on Twitch, only like a couple million, I think, if I last I counted. But even with that, like we think that's pretty cool, right? And for these streamers, I guess that just carries over when they meet people in person, where they just feel like they're the shit and they can do whatever they want because they can do whatever they want on their stream. On their stream, they're the star, they're the director, you know, they're doing their own show. And like I said, I guess that carries over. That's the only thing I can think of for it to being such a high volume of people on Twitch.
It's like that God complex, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
You hear
of.
about it
Yeah.
with surgeons all the time, right? Like surgeons, a lot of them have a God complex because of the job that they're doing. Streamers and entertainers, to an extent, not just in the streaming world, right? This could be movie entertainers, musician entertainers, athletes. There's a certain type of God complex that you develop for a lot of people, not for everyone, but for a lot of people. And so when you do see the normal fan, right, or the ordinary person, a lot of times you see them as like a lesser individual. And that's where I think a lot of these issues stem from is they don't look at that as like, though that's a victim, that's a person that has feelings. Like that's just another trick to them, you know, just another
Mhm.
person. They don't care. They're not worried about the feelings. They're not worried about how it damages them, what the long-term repercussions are. That's what they want at that moment in time, and they act on it inappropriately, obviously, as we're seeing. And you're right, Tim. The names that have come out from this, yeah, a lot of them like we're close with in different areas, right? In terms of at least working relationship. Um, you hate to see it, and I think it's important that we acknowledge it on both sides, right? Like something that you and I have talked about really in more in depth about this particular topic than I think a lot of things even directly esports related, right? Like because it does light a fire under both of us for different reasons. But it's partly you have to sit there and you want to listen to everybody that
Yeah,
makes an
that's the
accusation,
key. And
right?
I said that last episode. I was like, whether or not you believe them is completely your decision. But what you have to do is listen, right?
Yeah.
You have to listen. That's if you aren't listening, if you aren't willing to listen, then you can't have an opinion in the situation. And that's
Well,
just the
if you're not
reality.
willing to listen, then you're part of the problem that's allowing it to continuously happen.
Yeah.
Right? If you're not willing to listen and you don't want their voices to be heard, then it's going to continue to happen because you're not going to see any repercussions on the back end. I also think it's important, however, with listening, that we are judging these people in the court of public opinion. It's important to know that this is not a criminal proceeding that you are almost seeing play out on Twitch, right? But you are being judged in the court of public opinion. With that being said, comes along the cancel culture that we're also seeing for a lot of these individuals whose names have been thrown out there. Others, you know, some of the names you see, Tim, and we kind of see them, we're like, oh, that doesn't seem that surprising based on the person that they're talking about, right? From other stories that we've heard behind the scenes, from stories that are publicly out there, there's some names that you see on this list and you're like, yep, for some reason that doesn't surprise me. Right? But then there's other names that you see on here and it also starts to make you wonder like, well, I want to hear that person's side of it too before I'm going to sit here and say, let's cancel this individual's career, man or woman, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just get him out of here. And I don't want to know anything other than what the accuser had to say. I think that's wrong too. I do think that that's a wrong approach. I think both sides um, need to be heard. And then in the court of public opinion, we can make our judgment on that individual. Some people will not get that fair opportunity. You know, there's individuals out there like, you know, we talked about him pre-show, Swifty. Swifty is a massive World of Warcraft streamer. The dude has done a lot for his community, a lot for the game, and he was recently accused. Don't know if it's true, don't know if it's not true, But what I do know is actions have been taken against this individual as if he is guilty. Blizzard, again, in my mind, can't do anything right when it comes to PR. Like they're probably one of the worst um, proponents of this. Like they've obviously canceled him out of the game. He had an avatar NPC in the game that they took out and removed it already. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute. He was just accused. Like, do you know that this is 100% accurate or 85, 70%? Do we know it's anything more than a 50-50?
Yeah.
Or and if you do and you have further evidence, great. Get him out. Like, don't want to see him. Let's not associate with him. Let's move on. But it is moving at a pace where I'm a little worried um, for how the perception is for each of the individuals on the other side, because I don't want to sit here and say every story that's come out is 100% true, because I don't know that.
Yeah. Well, and I'll say this because I know a lot of people are hearing you say that, Anuj, and are yelling at their whatever people listen podcasts on, right? They're yelling at their phones, they're yelling at their computers right now, saying, how dare you guys are saying that the victims are lying? How do you not believe these women or guys, right, that are claiming sexual assault? And from what we said before, it's not that I don't believe you, right? But unfortunately, like they'll say, I saw a lot of people on Twitter is, oh, why? Because one person lied about it, that means they're all lying? No, but it does mean that people are capable of lying. And I think if we're just being adults about the situation, you have to acknowledge the fact that, much like we said with the Black Lives Matter movement and people being racist, some people are just assholes, right? Not esports related in the least, but if you've been keeping up at all with what's going on with Johnny Depp and his life, awful, right? And that same thing happened to him. Is his wife at the time accused him of beating her and, all this awful thing. He got kicked out of so many movies. He lost a lot of his credibility as an actor. And then it turns out, and this has been proven by the FBI, and she has admitted to it and it's been recorded, she lied about the whole thing, and it was actually her that beat him. 100% the roles were reversed as far as what everyone in the public thought. So no, does that one situation mean that every person, every victim is a liar? No, but in my eyes, it does mean that it's possible. And you have to, again, the key word of the day is listen. Because we have guys in the CSGO community who have been accused, where right off the bat, you have people trying to cancel them out, like Henry G, right? An ex-girlfriend of Henry G came out saying whatever, right? Go look up the story if you want, but it's pretty much all the same like any other. There was sexual assault involved. Well, instantly he came out, and not instantly, but relatively soon after, he came out and said his story. But even in that short amount of time, he even said, there has been damage to my name that I cannot fix at this point.
It's irreversible at this point.
Just to some people, now that it's out there, because again, that's kind of the downside of this, is you're going to get people who believe one thing or another. And unfortunately, it does kind of sway on far as if you're buddies with them. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are on Twitter when you're trying to cancel everyone else in esports, but because it's a CSGO bro, you're like, there's no way he could do this. But then half the other world of accusers is 100% telling the truth.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways.
For Henry G, fortunate that he had screenshots and stuff that helped his case.
Yeah, and he even said, he was like, thank God I have these text messages, because what if I deleted them? He'd be done.
Kind of the same thing with Launders, right?
Yeah.
Launders was also accused recently, and he came out and helped justify his case, right, as to why this wasn't the case. They were in this toxic relationship, and he also had some screenshots and kind of proof to show how their relationship went. Again, it doesn't 100% clear these individuals either, right? We don't know, if they really want to get justice, then you have to go through the appropriate channels, right? It can't be all of us saying this person is guilty or innocent. That's just what each individual will think. It's important to note that we live, unfortunately, in this clout chasing culture, which makes it difficult for everyone to find a happy middle ground of how to handle this, right? Um, there are people out there that will do it just to have a story, right, and to be involved and to say something. I believe honestly, I've listened to everybody. I believe a majority of the stories that I've heard, Tim. I
Yeah.
really truly say that with like vindication. I honestly believe most of the stories that I've heard. There are some that have gone out there that you're like, well, I want to hear a little bit more. Or I don't know if this is necessarily like assault or whatever, like sexual
There's a
misconduct.
very
Like this,
fine line between, and again, because it's not because like, oh well, one is different than the other. It's because what side of it falls on can make or break someone's life. Like, forget
yeah.
about their career, their life. But there's a fine line between sexual assault and misunderstanding, in my eyes, right? Of course, I've never been in a situation where I had to really decipher one or the other. But in my mind, when it comes to if you're going to accuse someone, right? Again, just keep in mind that can destroy their lives and yours if it turns out around you. So I think it's important to get it out there. Absolutely. If you feel like you have been sexually assaulted, like this is the time. We've seen that people are out here willing to listen and talk about it.
And
But
support you, right? Like the
yeah,
amount of support that the victims have right now is like gorgeous to see, right? Like everybody is coming out in support of you. You know you're not alone if you're going through something. Like this is definitely the time. Though I wouldn't say like, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to get lost in the shuffle. Like that's not the case. Like
no.
people are wanting to fight for you right now. And so if you have a story and you feel strong enough to share it, like we encourage you to do so. Like I don't want anyone to think that we're sitting here knocking a victim's story. Like that's not the case. It's just I also think it's important that we hear both sides if at least in my perspective, if it doesn't feel like the story had enough evidence there for me to be like, man, I should never support this other individual ever again, whether that's financially, as a viewer, as a supporter, as a content creator. Like, do we ever want to cover these types of people on the show if they've done something like this? Like, there's just more to it than like he said, she said. And I think it's just important that people get their stories out and then now we take the next step to finding out if what they're accusing them of actually 100% or at least close to happened. I think Twitch, unfortunately, is not helping like lead the charge in this,
Twitch is
right?
not innocent in the look. They're not like just some innocent bystander where they're like, "Oh, well, we're just the platform they're on. We can't do anything about it." No. Twitch, if anything, should be like front and center taking some blame on all this for building this culture around the streamers and the way that I mean, look, it is the worst kept secret out there that Twitch admins abuse their powers, especially when it comes to attractive female streamers. Like, I don't know the chick's name, but the one that pretty much threw her cat across the room and spit
Alinity or whatever.
whatever her name is. Yeah, threw like vodka down the cat's throat. Yeah, Alinity.
Yeah.
Nothing happened to her. But yet, some guy like his tit shows while wearing a tank top and he's banned for a month, right? Like, it's the worst kept secret out there that Twitch has no problem abusing their powers and being inconsistent with their own rules and depending on who you are. I think it's also not surprising that on the list of people being accused, we see some pretty high ups in the Twitch world being accused of sexual assault and using sex for people with partners, right? Like after TwitchCon, it's like, oh, there's a lot of partners all of a sudden after TwitchCon. I wonder what happened. I can tell you what happened.
Hassan Bakari is the head of Twitch partnerships, and his accuser had multiple people come out and say something similar has happened to them. Those are one of those cases where I don't need much more evidence for me to believe that this individual has done something wrong. And they were super detailed in how they got partnered. You look at the individual streaming numbers prior to partnership, nowhere near where they needed to be in order to get it. um, text messages being saved. And as far as I know, he's still on staff, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I don't think they've taken any action against him. He hasn't tweeted out anything to defend himself. I think that looks bad. Like, hey guys, if you've been accused and you truly are innocent, okay, or at least believe you are, make a statement yourself.
So,
Like,
even if it's just like
the-
hey, I didn't do this, but I'll get back with you later on the details. That's really like all you have to do. But to not say anything is pretty much not a good look.
Yeah, with like multiple accusers, right? Multiple people saying something about you, and you don't come out and even just a simple like wait for more or whatever, just to say something to defend yourself. That's a bad look. And but yeah, I do think Twitch is um partly to blame just for the culture that they've created.
Yeah.
You go to these Twitch cons and all that, you'll see where the God complex comes from. Go to a TwitchCon event and tell me it would not be easy for you to get God complex if you're a top tier streamer at one of those events. Like
Yeah.
the way that you
I mean,
are.
we even see it
you're-
at like just normal DreamHack events and everything, right? It's just shit. At DreamHack, I had like 3 listeners come up to me and take a picture, and I was like, where's the red ropes,
made it.
people? Like, where do I sign the autographs? So that's after 3. So I can only imagine if you had just thousands of people waiting to get to you. It's pretty ridiculous when it comes to that type of culture. And again, I think that starts with Twitch, right? We talk about with the Black Lives Matter movement how that really affects gaming. This might be ignorant of me to say, but I don't, I don't know. But I don't see a whole lot of racism on Twitch, but that could just be because I close Twitch chat and I don't ever look at it and I just watch
That's
esports.
exactly what it is, Tim. It's you closing Twitch
Is
chat
that
and not
okay?
reading it. It's
Okay,
there.
so
It's
maybe that's what it is. Just close Twitch chat and the world's a better place. But which listen, you have your own mental issues if you actually keep chat open. That's a whole nother episode in the future. But this though I think is directly related to the streaming and esports culture, because I think you're going to see Twitch, I think you're going to see other streaming platforms really kind of make a change. At least they should, right? Like, this needs to start with the higher ups on who they hire better people, maybe make it to where you just can't make anyone add a partner, things like that. But I also think you're going to see this completely change the way esports is. We're seeing a lot of big names like not necessarily for sexual assault now, but just getting called out for inappropriate behavior in the sense of power tripping and abuse of powers. We're seeing guys like Red Eye get called out for it. Now, he's made a statement and it was kind of like a no, hey, this some of this isn't true, I got to talk to my lawyer type of statement. But so we'll have to see what comes from that. But I mean, that
for Red Eye was like verbal abuse.
Yes.
Kind of. There was some physical involved in the statement, but mainly
but not like sexual, just
it just seemed like what Banks was saying is that he was like a really shitty boss, is kind of what I took from that statement. It's unfortunate that Banks was dealing with other issues that like enhanced obviously the lashings it sounds like he was taking from Red Eye, and it caused him to go into a state of depression. But like that's a different type of abuse that we saw come out, versus like kind of the general stories that we've been hearing.
but still something that, you could definitely see the way these events and everything are ran just be completely different. It just, I don't know.
They need to be. I mean, like, there is a huge esports implication to this because, let's talk about Method. Method Gaming is one of the largest esports orgs, to me, recognizable in terms of like any esport, right? And it's in World of Warcraft of all things, one of the least popular esports in the sense of like the big games, right? We never look at MDI or the Mythic Challenge. Like, we don't look at those leagues, Arena Challenge. We don't look at those as like top tier esports, right? But Method, to me, is one org that's like kind of bigger than the esport, if that makes sense.
No,
right?
look, I don't follow competitive Mythic run. I'll watch it, but I don't follow it by any means. But like when we were at BlizzCon and I saw someone on Method, like I knew, like, oh, like I know you guys, like you guys are for real. So
Like you're the real deal.
yeah, they're definitely
to
bigger
me,
than
they
the
are
sport.
like, like I said, almost bigger than the esport itself. They've boosted the esport to heights that and they never would have achieved without them, right? Like their legendary world first runs that they do for rating. Those are huge events. Like hundreds of thousands of people actually tune in to watch this guild clear a world first. And so for them to be in the situation that they're in, and we'll kind of get into that here, um, really is going to hurt the scene. I mean, for what Method's being accused for, it's regarding an individual named Josh. Josh has been with them for quite some time, for at least a couple of years. There are several accounts that have come out for him when it comes to rape, underage, like predatory kind of behavior. Um, nudes being sent back and forth. There's just a lot there, and Method has been aware of it for like a couple of years that this is the type of person that they had in their organization. Now, that it is important to note, guys, this does not mean everybody within the org knew that this is the type of person that they were dealing with. Okay. So when we say that the org knew, the higher ups, the management, the CEO, they knew the type of person that they were employing to the org. I think the rest of the people were relatively oblivious to his particular case. But this was going on for years. There had been a number of reports to Method. There had been ongoing criminal proceedings, and they allowed it to continue. And when I say they allowed it to continue, is they gave him a platform still. They gave him a voice still, an ability to defend himself, which he should not have had after a number of accounts of being levied against you. And by giving him that, you know, they allowed that to continue to a certain extent. You give an individual power and a person that's proven to not be able to handle it properly, you've now given him a way to go after people that he probably would not have the ability to do otherwise because he's already banned on Twitch. So that platform is gone. What is the only platform he has left?
Mixer.
And so nothing. So like nothing, right? And so they've come out, they made some statements. Those statements are pretty much been debunked for the most part in what they were saying that they didn't know. There's a lot of chat logs and stuff that have come out showing that they did know. Their CEO, Scott McMillan, issued a statement. I thought it was a very weak statement. I thought it didn't address a majority of the issues. And I'll just say that I'm a big fan of like Method. I really am. I still, even now, watch their weekly Mythic Plus content to see what I should be running and like following. This Tim is going to destroy this org. You have seen several top name players at this point disband and leave from, Dronathos, Sea-Doo. I mean, the list is like literally there's like probably 6 or 7 that I had
Who
sent
was your
you.
old guild leader? We met him at BlizzCon.
S-Fond is not going to be joining.
Yeah, he was
them.
going to sign a contract with them, and he decided not to renew it.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the lasting effects that this will have. Like, I don't see Method going into next season being an organization. Honestly, I don't know how they recover from it.
I wonder what Blizzard does at that point, right? Because I'm sure Blizzard's doing their own investigation on that front. And you might have mentioned it. Blizzard said that I saw something. I didn't read it, though. Blizzard said something about it. I think they said that they were doing their own investigation or whatever. But, yeah, and then and truly that's a shame. That's a big hit for the World of Warcraft community, whether it be the Mythic running or the arena. That is truly a big hit. Hopefully the guys can kind of keep the band together as far as with the players that, weren't aware of sexual assault and everything like that, just so we can have some continuity transfer over. But it's a big hit for them. Other, I think, kind of names that stand out on the esports side of it, and maybe some that maybe not that surprising. Video game attorney. Now, I'm going to say this right now because I've said it on the show before. I've never liked this guy. I always thought he was kind of a prick on Twitter. He felt like he was a lot of hot shit. Well, you can't be an asshole and do sexual assault. Like, You can't, because then
If you're gonna pick one or the other, though, you should pick
pick an
asshole,
asshole
just to
for
clarify.
sure. Like, I'd rather you be an asshole, but also not sexual assault. But when you're both, it's really not good for your look. And now the fact that he has it, literally no one is supporting him. No one.
Yeah.
And this is a guy that has had his hands in a lot of aspects when it comes to esports. So I think that's another
For him,
big
the
one.
bigger issue that also came out, not the bigger issue because the sexual assault's the biggest issue, but the other big issue is the fact that he's supposed to be representing players, and it turns out he had like some really close relationship with orgs, and there's like a breach of contract there. Obviously, when you're negotiating, you're supposed to be negotiating in good faith for the player, but your best friends are on the org or whatever. Like
Hold
there's
up,
other
hold up,
issues
hold up,
that
hold
are
up. Are you saying, Anuj, that there might be some conflict of interest in esports?
slightly. It's
Because
not just in TSM, Tim.
no, I was told TSM was the only conflict of in esports. That was the only conflict of interest. Everywhere else in esports, ignore it. Ignore it. People in decision making in leagues dating owners and coaches of teams. No. Don't look at that. It's just TSM. So that's crazy. That blows my mind that there's been other conflict of interest in esports. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
It's just one of those things where it's like you don't know where it ends. I'm excited that it's happening. It needs to be cleaned out.
Yeah.
If
The-
it's happening, it needs to be cleaned out. And so
If anything, this has made evidence that there definitely needs to be a purge when it
Yeah.
comes to the streaming community, the esports community. I think a lot of these people who've been up top have been up top a little too long, got a little too comfortable, got a little too handsy, it seems, and there definitely needs to be a purge. I think we all need to kind of look in ourselves, right? And if you are an accuser, or if you're, a victim who kind of knows in your heart that it wasn't sexual assault, but you're trying to clout chase, I think you're just as bad as the people who actually sexually assaulted someone. So another name that I think is going to be, huge in the sense of if it all turns out to be true, which I won't be a jerk. But everyone knows me. So everyone knows what I'm thinking, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to be a jerk. But FaZe Banks. I'm not going to be a jerk and say, could have told you. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to come out here and make Banks look bad because I'm just not going to do that. I think he's a nice guy. Okay. I heard that he started up his own gambling business. So he's an entrepreneur in that sense. A real Renaissance man. But FaZe is like, I don't know how to say this, but like they're partnering with the NFL. Like FaZe is very, very, very high up the food chain when it comes to esports. Very high up. How? I do not know. It's like all these investors don't know how to use Google when it comes to researching the people you give money to. But somehow FaZe has gotten through this with Banks somewhat being in charge of it all.
They don't involve him in the business side. So when people give them money, they don't see
him.
FaZe Banks. He comes in like just as the face, right, of the company that you see, which is an odd person for them to allow to be the face of the company.
The face of your company, if you could look past the whole gambling scandal and of how he created gambling websites but didn't tell anyone he created gambling websites and like totally rigged it so he could earn money doing it and create an internet org on that or whatever. If you can look past all that and you said, you know what, he's a good dude. Well, right when you say he's a good dude, you're going to get hit in the face with this sexual assault stuff now. And we've kind of already known he's not the most faithful lover. And I don't want to paint with a broad brush here, Anuj, but I'm going to assume that doesn't fall too far from the tree of sexual assault either.
Yeah, he's definitely an interesting character. That's going to be one that we'll obviously keep a close eye on because if that gets him, like, he's come back from a lot of stuff. Like he's really managed to like divert a lot of the negative attention off of him over the years. This is one that's going to be hard to dodge if it's true. So
you can dodge a lot of things. You know, you can dodge gambling scandals, apparently. You can get on a bounty commercial after you dodge a gambling scandal. Looking at you.
Scandal.
Scandal. What did I say?
Scandal.
Scamble. Gambling scandal. Scamble. You can dodge the N-word, right? You say the N-word, you can still recover from that. People forgive. Sexual assault, in my book, is one of the few things where it's like, ugh, that's a tough one to bounce back from.
Now, to be fair, we haven't let the people go that said the N-word because we still call them out on the show.
I
for
mean, you
saying
know
it.
us. We're not going to let
But
anything go.
in the overall grand scheme of esports, we've seen people that have used that language and recovered quite well. Like,
Yeah.
they
So,
come back.
you know, we'll be here to remind you about it, though, for sure. For sure. So there you go. I mean, that's kind of it for now. This, I feel like, will almost be, you know how, like, when coronavirus started and we were like, all right, well, let's just, I guess we'll talk about it for 5 minutes at the start of the show. And then that went on for like 3 months. And we were like, okay, I guess this is a thing now. I feel like this is going to be that thing. Like, next episode, we're going to give you an update. Oh, so this person's been guilty, or this person's innocent, and this person's in trouble now. So, like I said, I think it's a good thing overall, right? As awful as it is, as much as it sucks seeing some of these people that you watch every single day or you look up to in esports, right? Like, a lot of these, you know, guys in the industry have been around for a while. As much as you hate to see them being involved, you know what, Anuj? If you sexually assaulted someone, you sexually assaulted them, and you should get punished for it. Whether or not you're
Be
a
out
good
of the
dude.
scene.
Yeah, just
Just
simple
be out of the
as that.
scene. Vanish.
So that's why it's important to listen, though, because it really is just that simple as a black and white situation. It's if you did it, then we'll see you later. But if you didn't do it, we need to listen and make sure we're not just completely canceling people out before we know. And that's why I think it's so important you listen. All right. That's all I got. Do you got anything else on that topic? I would like to turn the page for now and talk about
Yeah.
something a little bit more fun, a little bit more us.
A different type of yikes.
Yes. And this is one of the things is if this was just one case, might throw it in Yikes of the Week. But really, I didn't want to like undermine. We even discussed it. We don't want to throw this in Yikes of the Week to kind of undermine the seriousness of the situation. Sexual assault is not a yikes. It is a serious manner. And yikes is also serious, but a fun serious. So let's get into some yikes of the week. We actually have a handful to get to because we did not do it last week. I did not do it with Kevin. Anuj, I honored you. I said
Thank
no. Yikes of the week belongs to Anuj and myself, so we won't do it then. Plus, it was on a Wednesday. You can't do yikes of the week on a Wednesday. Like, who does that? It's only it's a Monday.
We got some good ones for
It's
today.
a
So we're
Monday.
making up for 1 week out.
So go ahead. I'll let you start.
Easy one, Tim. So this is from the king himself. Scump of the Chicago Huntsmen was recently fined by Call of Duty League for an unknown amount, probably nothing crazy, but either way, fined for making some statements towards Modern Warfare, Tim. And he was pretty blunt. I mean, he called the game trash. He said the mechanics are like counterintuitive to what you have seen from traditional Call of Duty. He
Okay.
said the game is only even popular because Warzone came out.
Okay.
And so then I started looking
Sounds
more
like he
into
listens
it, and I
to.
was like,
Sounds like he listens to the show.
yeah, I was like sitting there and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm still waiting to find the reason he was fined. It turned out he was fined for speaking the truth. So because he came out and spoke poorly about Modern Warfare, he was fined for those comments. And fair or unfair, obviously, CDL has the ability to do that. However, I do think he made some very valid points for this iteration of Call of Duty. I do think the multiplayer competitive side, I think it's trash for the most part. Like, we've been pretty fair about that. As
Yeah,
much
we've
as
been-
I'm
we have been
enjoying
vocal that the game
competition.
sucks.
Yeah, like I'm enjoying the competition.
Yeah.
I think the game is kind of trash, though. I do think Warzone was the biggest savior to this game because if it wasn't, I'll tell you right now, you and me would have quit 4 months ago ish.
I mean, I haven't
Maybe a
touched.
little bit
I even
more?
haven't I've touched Warzone once since Duos came out, and I played two games
but
and
I'm
I
just saying
stopped.
in general, if
Oh,
Warzone was not in the
it would have
game,
been
when
done
would
a
we have
long
been
time
done
ago.
playing? It would
Yeah.
have been a long time ago. Um, the mechanics, I mean, movement mechanics obviously are an issue. Spawn points are an issue. And so he went on to Hex's podcast and they talked about it a little bit more in depth. I feel for him because what he said, he's not alone in thinking. And this is a yikes because he was fined for really just speaking his mind. I think that's kind of unfortunate. Rather than addressing the problem, which would be the game, and trying to make the game better, which is too late to do now. We're too far into the season, too late into the life cycle to think that it's going to get much better. The pros are the ones that have to deal with it. They're the ones that got to practice 12 hours a day on a game that they don't like playing. They're the ones that have allowed Karma, one of the winningest players of all time, to call it quits because he hates playing so much. And even Warzone, to me, Warzone has become trash. It's full of cheaters. They don't have an anti cheat system in place. It discourages me from playing that. And so to me, I'm like already just ready for the next iteration. Like
It's only June.
it's sad. And I was ready 2 months ago, Tim. Like it's June now, but 2 months ago, if you told me new Call of Duty is coming out, I would not have been sad to put the controller down and move on to the next one. So for me, yikes for Scump, getting put into the situation of being honest and paying the price.
It's not on the list, but I'm going to add an impromptu yikes because you reminded me of something. I love charity just as much as the next guy. Oh, you know what? I could throw this in. This is a good segue to my yikes, actually.
That's what I thought you were going with it.
All right, look at that. I'm such a pro. I didn't even realize I was doing a perfect segue. My segue is the 100 Thieves. I don't know if you saw this. It was actually probably like a week or so ago. This was while you were out on a baby leave. They announced that they were going to do a charity tournament for Warzone, like everyone, and then tweeted out saying, "Oh, sorry, we have to cancel because Activision denied us. They're not allowing us to do this charity event because we won't drop the sponsor of Cash App because Cash App put up like I think $200,000 or something insane like that. Was it 200,000?
A lot of money.
I think it was like that. It was a lot of money. And so this
Plus
kind of
the official sponsor of 100 Thieves.
Yes, very true. And so this like caught fire. Okay, this was like all of a sudden blew up on Reddit, blew up on Twitter, blew up everywhere. That oh man, Activision, this evil corporation, won't support charity. Well, hold up. Let's pump the brakes here, okay? Now, we all know, me and Anuj would love, like, we don't hesitate to take a shot at Activision Blizzard. We love it. I mean, they're like permanent residents in Yikes of the Week. They have a key, okay? Like, if there's anyone that can stay the night, it's Activision Blizzard on Yikes of the Week. I mean, come on. But this one I don't think goes to Activision on my side here. I think this goes to 100 Thieves because this is 100% nade shot tactic written all over it. He did the same thing with Valorant, right? When they said, hey, don't stream it. And then he just happened to mention it on a stream while playing with someone else. And then he was like, oh, I wasn't trying to make it a big deal. Well, then why did you say it the way you said it? Like, we're not stupid here, Nade Shot. We know what you're doing. And the fact that you said Activision is denying you, they're not denying you. They're giving you permission to run the tournament. They said you can do it if you don't have a sponsorship for it. Because in their world of rules, when it comes to granting a charity tournament, you can't have a paid sponsor for it. So they said, just drop Cash App from the name. That's all you got to do. Drop them. And 100 Thieves said, no, we can't do it. Can't do it. They're giving us the money. I think this is so stupid on 100 Thieves' part, and the fact that I think people don't realize that it's 100 Thieves' fault for this not happening and not Activision blows my freaking mind that a bunch of fanboys can't see that, like, no, if you really cared about the charity, you would have just not had Cash App in the name, but then said, this is the workaround here. This is a trick in radio and broadcast. You just say thanks Cash App like every 10 minutes in your stream. Like, you don't ever say they're a sponsor. Just say, man, this is a great tournament. Oh, by the way, thank you so much to Cash App for donating $200,000 for charity.
And you would have had them acknowledged 50 times probably on stream
You didn't
for
have to
doing
call
that,
it
right?
the
Like, you
Cash
could have
App
made
or
them the top donator
yeah.
for this stream, right? And then their name would have still been at the top. It still would have found a way to be on there. But yeah, it's just the way he worded it. Obviously, it's just a bad look.
Yes.
So, I agree. That's a yikes that falls
My
more on him.
my branch off yikes to this. If I see one more Celebrity Warzone tournament, I'm going to blow my brains out.
Have you watched one?
No. I don't care for them. I don't know who does. Like maybe after the first 500, I would have lost interest. It's like at the MLB All-Star game, you know how after the home run derby they'll do the celebrity softball game? Okay? That's entertaining to me. One night a year.
Not if it had 162 games like a pro league.
No. I don't want to see a celebrity softball game after every single baseball game. I want to see it after one game, one time a year. And yet with Warzone, I don't know if it's just because everyone's still back in quarantine because we're going for round 2 with Corona here in the States. Maybe it's just because celebrities and athletes just have nothing to do with their free time. It's like every single day there is some org running some celebrity tournament. I don't care.
It's worse than Valorant beta tournaments that we saw. It's happening at a faster pace than Valorant beta tournaments are.
It's unbelievable.
Which is hard to believe. It's every weekend there is somebody else hosting it. And look, if a lot of these are for charity and it's going to a good cause and they're getting money, that's awesome. But the thought of another Warzone tournament, it just drives me up the wall. Especially
when none of them are that good. Like it's like, oh cool, I get to watch a football, like some guy in the NFL play. Like it loses its appeal very quickly.
Yeah.
My next yikes here, we talked a little bit about it last week. We threw in an e-news last week. I didn't know the turnaround was going to be so fast, or I would have held off on it. But Fnatic is teamed up with Gucci, okay, for a watch. And so that's what the news was last time. I was like, oh, okay, I wonder what it's going to look like. Oh, maybe it looks cool. Well, I don't know. I might be in the minority on this one. I don't want my Gucci mixing with my pro teams. If I'm spending $1,600 on a watch, I don't need a sports team logo on it. This kind of reminds me, and I said it last time, Anuj, you know, like when the Cowboys have like a Marvel t-shirt and it's like Captain America and the Hulk with a Cowboys logo in the background, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. That's how I felt about the Gucci Fnatic team up. The fact then they released the watch, which doesn't look that good to me. I mean, it looks okay. I would wear it, but not for that price.
It looks like a cheap watch to me. So
It looks weird. And
I honestly don't like. I like watches,
and I'm not above spending money on stupid things. I have a table of Warhammer miniatures behind me to prove that. This shit's expensive for anyone who's done Warhammer painting. You know that's a waste of money. I know it's a waste of money. Okay? My wife's wedding ring set, that was a lot of money. I probably didn't need to spend as much as I did. I spend money on stupid things. I'm not above it. I've looked at Gucci watches before, but not when it has the Fnatic logo on it. And you're going to double down and tell me they were sold out like in the first 2 days?
Please.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
They made 100 of them from what I've seen, just based on like people that have posted about getting them. They're 1 of 100, 6 of 100. I know they gave away 50 of them, Tim.
This is like
at least.
This is like when the Mavericks were still continuing their sellout streak here in Dallas, but when they were like god awful for like those 3 or 4 years, and it's because Mark Cuban just he gave all the tickets away for free to like corporate sponsors and stuff. It's like, okay, you ran out. You didn't sell out.
Yeah,
you ran out. There's a difference there, Gucci. Okay, you ran out of watches. You didn't sell out of them. But, hey, to each their own. I guess this is going to be, if you're a Fnatic fanboy, very cool. Even if this was a Cloud9 watch, I'd say the same thing. It's not Not worth it.
No. I looked at the watch and I was like, wow, if you're gonna make me buy a Gucci watch that has a Fanatic logo on it, you better make it look
Yeah.
badass. I
And
thought it was
and
like,
believe me, one day in my life I'll have a Gucci watch. I'm gonna get me a Gucci watch one day. This is not that watch.
yeah, this is not it. This is not it, champ. So, my yikes is kind of again a story that I feel like maybe y'all discussed a little
Yeah,
bit
we did.
last week.
Yeah.
But this is regarding Leaf, the player on Chaos that was accused of cheating against MIBR. Obviously, all the hate and the backlash, like that's a yikes in itself. The way the community has treated this kid on just accusations, we don't know if he was actually cheating or not. He had a fantastic game. Well, unfortunately, he followed it up with a poor performance here. And Gauls, the largest basically Brazilian streamer caster that is out there that pulls in numbers. Okay. This dude pulls in like 2, 3, 400K depending on the event for nonsense Brazilian games that like don't have much meaning, right? Like they're just normal play in games or whatever. He posted a screenshot of Leaf's performance this week. Unfortunately, again, it was a poor performance that he had. Didn't say anything with it. Didn't need to say anything with it. He is contributing to the hate that this kid is facing. And it's unfortunate because he's got a real platform now. He's not just, a small little streamer that has no voice. Like his tweets are doing damage here. And he doubled down on the hate that Leaf had gotten over the past week and a half, 2 weeks here by posting this. And it's driving a lot of pro players crazy. Device has even come out and made a statement about it, along with several other players. Um, casters and coaches have come out and spoken out against this, and he's kind of doubled down and said he doesn't really care. But I think it's unfortunate because people are just, with everything that's like going on right now, right? Not just esports, but if you want to go there, obviously the sexual harassment that we discussed, the Black Lives Matter movement, um, coronavirus. Like, there's just so much negativity in the world right now. Why are you adding on to it? And that's what sucks here. That's why it's a yikes. I think he needs to be a smarter person. I think he needs to take that screenshot down. An apology would be nice, unlikely, but it would be nice. Just unfortunate though for using your platform in such a shitty way. Again, against accusations. Put your time and energy towards asking Valve to make a better VAX system, right? Put your time and energy to figuring out if he really was hacking. Maybe have somebody look into it further, right? To actually give you proper information. But to do it this way just seems like a cheap shot, low blow. So yikes to not only Gauls, but the way the Brazilian community, unfortunately, not everybody in the Brazilian community, but a larger than just a small minority have gone after this person. So
Yeah,
yikes all around there.
we talked a little bit about it last time, and it's just it's kind of a shame. It's also a yikes, especially because there's also been video of the MIBR's coach sort of looking like he had the stream up while during a match and everything. So it's kind of like maybe you should make sure your backyard is taken care of before you start looking into other people's, right?
Yeah.
Like there's probably I can only assume when all this started, who was the original person to throw the first rock? Was it Fallen?
Fallen. And
Okay.
Fallen was one that was accused of cheating himself
Yes.
a long time ago.
Yeah, so ridiculous in itself. I'm going to assume Fallen, like a CSGO royalty, has proper connections to get with people to properly look at this without blasting it on Twitter. So
yeah,
it
didn't need to be a knee-jerk reaction that it was.
Yeah, no, and it's like you said, especially when you know the Brazilian fan base is batshit crazy, and that's a compliment and a diss all at the same time.
Yeah,
like they are nuts, and when they sense blood in the water, they are going to go for it. And it's really you really can't call them back either. It's too late at this point. This poor kid Leaf is going to hear it forever.
He unleashed the hounds, dude. It's not going to stop now. Now it's an ongoing thing for him.
So it's a damn shame, and go figure. MIBR still sucks for it, but that's just them for you. let's get into a little bit of word on the street. But before we do, download the Thrive Fantasy app. They are your daily fantasy sports bet for prop bets. Enter the code TCR upon sign up, and you will get an instant $10 for your first $10 minimum deposit. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, get some money. All right, let's get into some word on the street, if you will, because word on the street is Dr. Disrespect was banned from Twitch, which then led into thoughts of, oh shit, he probably did something sexually assault related. And then it turned into a rumor that maybe Slasher knows something, which then turned into a rumor, oh shit, it's got to be something way worse than just sexual assault. And now it's turned into a rumor that, no, it's a new streaming platform coming out that's going to have Dr. Disrespect and Ninja and Shroud.
That was a lot.
There's a lot of words on word on the street here. So I don't know where you want to pick up from that one, but I'll let you
Let's
lead.
just start with, again, the initial thing that triggered all of this, right? So Dr. Disrespect, as Tim mentioned, was recently banned on Twitch. Not only was he banned, but all of his subs were refunded, right? So an email went out to all of the subs saying you've been refunded your monthly subscription towards him. A statement has not been made by Twitch. A statement regarding the issue really has not been made by Doc, other than the fact that he said he doesn't know why he's banned, which is a whole nother yikes. I mean, how do you not know why you're banned? And then a statement has been made by his wife thanking everybody for all the love and support that they've seen. So a couple of things catch my eye from this, Tim. So obviously the first initial thought, as you mentioned, was, oh dear God, this is a sexual assault thing. Part of it because you think of Dr. Disrespect's past, fair or not fair. It's there. Something happened. He admitted to it. It was a big deal when it happened. Still a big deal. You know, it's still a touchy topic, obviously. And so your first initial thought was, oh God, this is a sexual assault issue. Why else would Twitch put the ban hammer down so fast on one of the biggest content creators on their platform, if not the biggest, right? Then Slasher makes his statement, which we won't get too much into right now, but he made a statement saying that he knew what it was, didn't feel comfortable talking about it. So then our minds take the next jump, right? Oh my God, like if he's not willing to disclose it and it's that bad, this may be beyond sexual assault, Tim. This may be.
Because Slasher did, because the first initial thing was, oh, it might have been because of the DMCA rules that Twitch is kind of hitting people hard on. And maybe they just really hit, Doc has a couple strikes on him already. Maybe they just said, you're done for now, right? And then Slasher confirmed, no, I from sources, I can tell you it's not because of that, but I'm too uncomfortable to say why. So there's, in my mind, like a very short list of things that you're too uncomfortable to say because it's, more of a legal issue, and that's either pedophile or rape. Like,
that's murder.
Else?
Maybe you can throw into
murder.
it,
Maybe, but I think you would still say, yeah, he murdered someone.
Like, it's still like one of those things where those statements obviously started lighting the fire, and then now here we are, a couple days removed. Things have kind of settled down. Different rumors have started to fly out, and the streaming service rumor came out. And I'll tell you, and one of my initial thoughts was that he was moving to Facebook, right? Although it didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Like, if the money is there, the money is there. Maybe that could be it.
Everyone has a price.
Yeah, everybody has a price, right? And like, I don't blame anybody for taking the money and running. Like, I really don't. So if that's what he ended up doing, not a problem. But what we've heard recently is that there's potentially a new streaming service about to be offered, partnering up with Doc, Ninja, Shroud, that could be potentially even launching as early as the 29th, which is when most of you will be hearing this episode. And that's starting, Tim, to make more and more sense to me. Because I feel like if this was a sexual assault issue,
we would have known.
The victim would have spoke out. It would have leaked, I think, from somewhere.
No way. And I said this in our Discord, and I even think I told you like privately. There is no way in the world that we live in now a sexual assault victim could go to Twitch's higher ups privately and say, hey, Dr. Disrespect sexually assaulted me. And then all of that stays under wraps and no one knows about it. No way.
Seems
No
unlikely.
way.
Seems unlikely. The reason the streaming service to me makes more sense is a sexual assault allegation wouldn't have to wait for Monday to come out, right? Like it's not like, oh, well, the news cycle's only Monday through Friday. Let's wait till Monday to talk about it. However, if you are under NDA for a news service, it makes sense that no comments are being made because legally you can't talk about it until a certain point in time. And it's just kind of lining up for me to believe that it's not going to be something as bad as a lot of us feared.
And
I'll
thank
say it.
God, because I did
I'm a
not want to hate Dr. Disrespect.
I don't know if I could have handled it. I don't know if I could have stomached it with everything else that's going on. There's
I,
already so much bad shit out there. I didn't
I
need
need the doc.
He's he's a relief for a lot of people to watch because he is a character. He does put on a show. He streams the way I think it's so unique, but what he does is so intriguing that I really hoped it wasn't that because he's really kind of a one of a kind,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
There's
you
not many
said,
people that are like in character doing what they do.
because like when he had the affair, a lot of people wanted him gone, which even at that time, I'm like, look, that's between him and his wife. Like, if she forgives, I forgive. That's kind of my motto when it comes to affairs.
Doesn't mean we forgot, but we can
But
easily move on
if
from
they
it.
can move on and live happily ever after, surely you can as a third party in this love triangle.
Yeah.
So that it's okay, it's fine. But man, I was not my heart. I'm not lying. I two really affected me. Launders, right? I called you up and I was like, our boy Launders. Like, man, I hope this isn't true. And Dr. Disrespect, I sat down with my wife and I was like, babe, I have some news. They might get the doc. And she said her theory was the only thing that could happen that wasn't leaked is like child pornography because the feds see it, the feds show up at your door, and then you're gone, never touching a computer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only other thing. And I'm like, oh, God, please.
Like she just threw something into your head that you maybe
Oh,
hadn't thought of.
I wasn't even thinking that. And then I'm like, oh, God, you're right. That's the only thing that I could think of that wouldn't be leaked is something that is caught by the feds. And like, even on Discord, like chat, I mean, it was just chat after everyone on our Discord was talking about their theories and things like that. And I was like, I swear to God, if all this turns out just to be some streaming service they're moving into, I'm not going to be so much pissed at Doc and all them. I'm going to be pissed at all these people that like you said earlier, clout chased all of this. So I'm not going to throw stones yet, but watch out because whatever happens tomorrow on Monday, when people are listening to this, I'm going to be livid if this turns out to be just a huge clout chase.
We'll know where our show on Thursday is going.
Oh, boy.
You know, with what's happening right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you know, the only thing that has me a little worried still is the way his stream ended. Have you seen that by chance?
Okay. So have you seen the short clip or the long clip?
I saw the short clip.
Okay. After the show, I wish we could almost just take like a 5-minute break so you could watch the long clip. It's not, the short clip doesn't do it justice. I think that was two things. The video that one of his viewers sent him or like said to look up was super weird. Like that one in the background when you're like, what the fuck is he watching? It's a super weird video. I don't know what game it was. So I think that was Doc playing his character a little bit of where he was like, because he just stopped talking. So I think he was like, what is this video? Right? So I think that was a little bit of character. And I think a smidge of he knew like this was probably the last time he was going to be on Twitch. And he couldn't say goodbye because of the NDAs. So I think that was him saying like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be okay. I'll see you on the other side. But he couldn't say it because obviously
I hope that's
agreements.
the case. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I did watch the short clip, and my initial thoughts watching it were like, man, he seems
Oh, I
a
mean,
little torn.
like the
Like he
rumor
seems a
was is
little
like the
torn up.
cops were busting into his house at that very moment, and it looked like it, right?
That's what I was picturing in my head because I had read that stuff before I watched the clip, right? So then I watched that short clip and I was like, man, is this like, is this the end?
I
Like,
also
is
just
this
ordered a
it?
Dr. Disrespect t-shirt for my birthday. It was my birthday gift to myself. So I really didn't want that happening. Personally for me, uh, if you could just not be a pedophile so I could wear your t-shirt. That would be great for me personally.
You'd have to save
And
that for.
the other crazy thing with all this, and I want to talk about the streaming service for a second, is talk about the cancel culture, right? This all brings it back to what we were originally talking about, the clout chasing, cancel culture, everything. A lot of his sponsors ended up dropping him because of what Slasher tweeted, because of what the rumors were flying around that no one was saying anything. They dropped him because, again, like everyone else, what do you can only assume the worst in this scenario. And then he made his tweet saying, hey, everything's okay. Twitch hasn't said why I'm banned, which I guess is like the norm. Like they just tell you very basic stuff. They don't get into specifics.
Broke our terms of service.
Right.
Like,
And
that's
we've
it.
already seen Twitch is a pretty petty company when people leave their services, a la Ninja, right? Like they handled that awful as far as burning bridges go. So a lot of his sponsors left. Well, it was just recently announced earlier today, I think, or maybe last night, that, well, no, they came back to Doc. So like now the sponsors that left came back. So clearly they spoke with Doc and everything's good with them. So someone knows something, and it's just one of those things where it's,
It's
it's
crazy.
fine.
I mean, it really is. Like, this is one of those things that's really captivated not only myself, but almost all of Twitter, across all sorts of esports, all sorts of genres, entertainment. Like, it's trending. People want to know what's going on, and I'm very anxious about tomorrow to find out. It's kind of been nice with this crazy baby feeding schedule. With one eye open, I kind of check Twitter in the middle of the night to just kind of
Man,
see if
you
there's
can
been.
keep up with all of it. Like you're
Yeah, I
seeing
mean,
it as
just
it
kind of like
goes.
seeing what's going on, if any updates happen. I mean, it's really captivated everybody, and it has our attention. So we'll definitely update you guys on that for our next episode, which will be come out Thursday. But yeah, tomorrow,
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's a streaming platform. I
Monday
am
will be an
hoping.
interesting day no matter what.
You know what, Tim? If it's a streaming platform, I would be stoked because not only obviously it clears his name from all the potential shit that it could be right now, but there needs to be another competitor. We didn't get to talk about it. I did not get to talk about it with you, regarding Mixer's departure from the scene. But like, as much as Mixer was a joke, like it was still a competitor, and Twitch needs that because them running a monopoly sounds like the worst idea based on how they've handled everything and anything.
Yeah.
They're the blizzard of content creation sites, and so I would love for it to be another streaming service. And hell, who knows? Maybe this could be our farewell too.
Awkward dismount for them show. I talked about it on Discord. I know some people were saying like, "Oh, we just got rid of Mixer. Do we really need another one?" I am with you. I think competition is always good. I mean, I would like some competition in the podcast world, but I haven't seen any. But I think it would kind of be neat if this platform though took a different twist. In they only focus on advertising and getting views. In the sense of it is a closed streaming service. Not anyone can do it, right? It's purely only their quote unquote partners. So like maybe they just start with Shroud, Ninja, and Dr. Disrespect, right? Or maybe a handful of streamers that they hand select to sign to them, and think of it almost like a TV channel, but you can choose whatever show like you want to watch at that very moment, right? Like a streaming service where it's like they have exclusive rights to these streamers. I
So you
wouldn't
don't
hate
have a million to choose from, but you
what's
need
there,
it. You need enough to be able to like get on and
a
see
variety.
somebody. Yeah.
But like if they're just like, look, we don't want to focus on supporting 1 million people. We just need 400 people at the end of the day. Eventually we'll get them, whatever, but we're going to start with the 3 biggest streamers out there. I wouldn't hate it personally. You know, if you need another streaming service, if I know I can go to this one and get the exact guys, that would be a good one to have exclusive rights for esports, you know, things like that. That just, maybe it will be an awful idea, right? Maybe I never go to it. I never went to Mixer to watch Shroud, so maybe I'm talking out my ass. I don't know.
You got to get more than I think just the content creators to capture our attention because we're always looking for esports to
Yeah.
watch, right? So if like the esports don't move over there and it's just the streamers, we'll see how much I end up watching. But look, I think competition's good. So however they do it, however they decide to do it, if they are doing it, if that's what it is, I would be pretty stoked for that and relieved.
Yeah. Yep. It'll be interesting, man. To Monday, tomorrow, when most of you are listening to the show, I think we'll probably have our answers by then, and you know, we'll see. It is crazy. I don't remember the last time that it's a situation where it's either a new streaming platform or someone's a child pedophile. Like it's like you can,
The
it's
extremes.
anywhere in between pedophile and streaming service. It's just crazy the spectrum that this is going into, with all the different rumors and things going around. So it's I just want to know. I just want to know if I can still support the doc, because damn, do I not want to do it. I don't want to like not support him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
So
feel you.
I hope everything works out, and I hope it works out for everyone, because you know, who knows, maybe the new platform is great. You know, Twitch isn't perfect, so we'll see. All right, let's get into some e-news. Not going to play the music because the music is copyrighted, and we support artists on this podcast, so I got to find new. If you have good copyright-free music that you would want to have for e-news, send it my way on Discord or Twitter, and maybe we'll do it. So, looking here at e-news real quick, have a lot to get to, but not a lot in CS. For CS right now, you do have Summit going on, which Summit not being a LAN really defeats the purpose of Summit in my eyes.
Yeah.
Like, the whole purpose of Summit was you're in like a
Should've been for
LAN
the
house.
tournament.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
having like an old school LAN. They're all chilling on the couch type of vibe. But that's not going to stop Grim from completely dropping a 60 bomb. He dropped 64 in an overtime match on Overpass versus MIBR. Still lost, which is just the story of everyone's lives, right? You drop 64 kills, somehow your team still loses. But damn, no, MIBR wasn't throwing cheating accusations to him.
That's all I was thinking about while you were saying this just now is I wish they had won because I would have loved to see the cheating accusations that would have came out
Yeah.
after somebody gets 64 on you.
Yeah, it's real funny, Fallen, how you just think that's okay. So there's that. In CDL, they announced a $500,000 challenger postseason. So that's not bad.
Pretty legit, yeah.
Yeah, that's legit. In Valorant, a lot of roster signings. 100 Thieves fill out their rosters, which a bunch of no names, no disrespect, but they you think, oh wow, they started out with Hiko. Man, they're gonna get some good guys. Well, they've signed a team of PUBG pros.
I think we should like save that one a little bit just to talk about more in depth
Okay.
and maybe in one of our
Again,
Valoranting
no
exclusive
disrespect.
segments. Yeah.
No disrespect. Maybe they're the best, but
It's a shocking signing to say the least.
Yeah.
So I would like to dive into that a little bit more at some point.
there's that. FaZe sign Jason R of Counter-Strike and Corey of Team USA winner, World Cup winner for Overwatch. So honestly, not a very whole lot of times will an Overwatch League signing overshadow, I think, a Counter-Strike signing. But Corey is the big get there. That's the big get.
I think Jason R is like obviously a great player. I think he's a weird person to have as a captain of your team because he's also shown like a lack of commitment issues when he kind of quit on his team in Counter-Strike. So I don't know if I would have gone the route of to making him a captain, but I think he's a great signing. Corey, I feel the same way about Corey. Is proven to be a skilled player. He's playing well in the tournament that they just got eliminated from. And you know, they even had like Zachary from Overwatch League playing with them this weekend
Mm-hmm.
on that team, and they looked good. So two good signings for FaZe to start off with.
Yeah, like you said, yeah, Zachary. They had a few other big name people playing with him, not officially signed yet, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
good stuff there. And what else? Oh, G2 ended up signing Pith, formal ninjas, right?
Yeah, former Ninja. He's been a CS:GO lifer, so um, he's had a tough time, obviously, getting onto a team here recently, which is the reason for the change. I think G2 even signed somebody else. If I'm not mistaken, they have another person on the roster besides Mixwell and Pith. But um, good signing. Again, that's another, like, you're getting a class act, somebody that's played on LAN, somebody that's been on a big team. Like, that's not a bad signing at all.
Yep. And that's it for Valorant. Right now, you actually have the T1 tournament. I believe it's in the grand finals between TSM and someone. I didn't look at the last update, but I am ready for real Valorant. So maybe we'll save that for Wednesday for a little Valorant segment, because I'm ready for real stuff.
Yeah.
And in other news, esports has been busy outside of those. We have, I hope I'm saying his name right, but Jae Dong has retired from the StarCraft world. Legendary StarCraft player is retiring to proceed his South Korean military service. So congrats,
Good for him.
An
Yeah.
incredible career there. I believe he's like 30 years old, so got to do that military service sooner or later. And so he's taken now the time to do it. Pokemon announced a MOBA called Pokemon Unite for mobile and Switch. Do you see any potential there?
I don't, because it looks like okay, so it'll do well. It's a Pokemon game.
Of
It's
course.
gonna have crazy numbers, right? It looked like a mobile game to me, though. Looking at it, like, I didn't get excited. I thought if they had, like, really, like, made it look
Yeah.
good, I would have seen more potential here. It looks like a mobile game.
It's going to sound weird that I'm a 30-year-old man about to like rant about Pokemon, but it came out when I was 8 years old, so I feel like I have some right to do it. I need Pokemon to grow up with its fan base a little bit. Just a little. You could still keep the vibe, but like you said, I really like if they would have taken it and made it a little bit more advanced for like their older fan base.
Yeah.
It would have been, I think, at least entertaining in that sense. But it looked very basic. So whatever. It's Pokemon. I get it's for kids, but at the same time, when you grow up with it, you kind of want it to take that next leap at some point. QuakeCon, this might have already been out there, but they did tweet it out that QuakeCon at home will be August 7th through the 9th. So that's kind of a bummer. We go to QuakeCon every year just because we live right down the street from it. But there's that. They're still going to do all their announcements and tournaments and everything. Another sad news, though. We have a victim of coronavirus as Esports Arena had to close down their Oakland site as they're just not able to keep up with the closures and everything. That kind of sucks because I kind of forgot that Esports Arena was making a big push before all this. Remember, they bought a spot, I think, in Austin, and they were buying spots up like all around the country for their LAN centers. And so for the fact that now this hit and you're starting to see them close, I mean, this I can only assume is the first domino. But so that sucks. Hopefully it's just that spot and it's not a company as a whole, but we'll see. We'll see. In Rocket League news, you had Turbo Pulsa sign with Envy. Of course, this was after he was dropped from NRG, if I believe. Don't quote me. Not a Rocket League expert, but I think it was NRG. So that's huge. That's like a world champion more than once coming over to Envy's roster. Maybe we'll get him on the show. And Rise Nation, they've been teasing this for a while now. A rebrand was in play. Anuj, what did Rise Nation change their name to?
This is gonna throw you for a loop, Tim.
Drum roll.
Rise Nation is now known as Rise. Period.
I love rebrands in esports.
You know, the rebrand, obviously, okay, whatever, it is what it is. We've seen worse. At least we've seen worse recently. But they are focusing on getting into the CDL next season. Looks like they got a lot of financial backing. So all of that is like good stuff, right? The rebrand is kind of the after story here. If they had just rebranded and that's what it was, this would have hopped into Yikes. But because they're trying to accomplish a little bit more here and making a bigger push, we can go along with that. And
Rise is a little
support
bit
them.
more of an adult name. I think Rise Nation was the name they made when they were like 18 and thought it was cool. And they
Yeah,
were like, man, we got to be a nation. Rise Nation. Then they were like, no, now we're adults with investors, so we're just going to call ourselves Rise.
I like it.
So
That'll work.
there you go. You cleaned up a little bit. Cut the tips off and boom. So there you go. There you have it. There is Yikes of the Week. Whoa. Copyright. And there is the show. Thank you everyone for listening. That does it for episode 249. We will be back Wednesday streaming live on Twitch, or maybe we're a part of the big announcement tomorrow with Dr. Disrespect. You never know. You never know. Maybe it's Dr. Disrespect and TCR moving over. So there you have it. Yeah, we'll see. Lots to discuss for Thursday's episode. We'll have possibly new streaming platform to talk about. Maybe get a little Valorant segment going in. We had some patch notes recently that we didn't get to talk to with the Nuge about, so we'll do that. We'll see. Always something going on. Pray that no one else sexually assaults anyone. Maybe we've gotten that out of everyone's system and we're back to normal. We'll see. But we'll talk about it here, of course, on the Center Ring, as we always do. Follow us on Twitter at the Center Ring if you're not doing so. And of course, our Discord, which is in the bio of our Twitter and our website, tcr.gg. It's been real. Love you all. For Nuge, I'm Tim. We'll see you.